Welcome, everyone. It's 10:01 on Tuesday, August 12th. This is An Open Door, an offering through An Open Door called Training Wheels, which is where we gather to do a daily lesson in A Course in Miracles. And today I'm going to read from the actual lesson in the text, and I'm also going to read from Training Wheels. We are on Lesson 45, God is the mind with which I think. So, as we usually do, we read through all the lessons, and that is how we enter the meditation. And we're going to do another 10-minute meditation today. But it's easier for me if we just turn our screens off, and that way I'm not looking at anybody or myself. And we just settle in and be where we are. And most of us are familiar now with our own I am presence, the awareness in which all things arise, the awareness which is our natural state and with which all seeming movement and separate thoughts, subjects and objects disappear within the wholeness of the awareness that we are. So the awareness, while it's limitless and formless and boundaryless and infinite, also serves paradoxically as a container in which all arises. So we'll start with the lessons in order as our introduction. Nothing I see means anything. I have given everything I see all the meaning it has for me. I do not understand anything I see. These thoughts do not mean anything. I am never upset for the reasons I think. I'm upset because I see something that is not there. I see only the past. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see nothing as it is now. My thoughts do not mean anything. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I'm upset because I see a meaningless world. A meaningless world engenders fear. Love, God, Source, did not create a meaningless world. My thoughts are images I have made. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. I am determined to see things differently. What I see is a form of vengeance. I can escape the world from giving up attack thoughts. I do not perceive my own best interests. I do not know what anything is for. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Above all else, I want to see. Above all else, I want to see things differently. Love, source, all that is, God, is in everything I see. Love, source, God, is in everything I see because love is in my mind. I am not a victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. There is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this. My mind is part of source mind, love mind, all that is. I am very holy. My holiness envelops everything I see. My holiness blesses the world. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. My holiness is my salvation. I am blessed as a child of God. God goes with me wherever I go. God is my strength. Love's vision is God's gift. Love is my source. I cannot see apart from love. Love is the light in which I see. Love is the mind with which I think. Love, God, is the mind with which I think. Today's idea holds the key to what your real thoughts are. They are nothing that you think, just as nothing that you think you see is related to vision in any way. There is no relationship between what is real and what you think is real. Nothing that you think are your real thoughts resemble your real thoughts in any respect. Nothing that you think you see bears any resemblance to what vision will show you. You think with the mind of God. Therefore, you share your thoughts, every thought, with God, as God shares God's thoughts with you. They are the same thoughts because they are the thought by the same mind. To share is to make alike or to make one. Nor do the thoughts you think with mind of God leave your mind, because thoughts do not leave their source. Therefore, your thoughts are in the mind of God as you are. They are in your mind as well, where God is. As you are part of God's mind, of love's mind, so are your thoughts part of God's. Every mind that lives now, has ever lived, or will ever live, resides in timeless love mind, God mind, source mind. When you join with mind of God, which you always are, access to all information in all time is available to you. Do you believe that it's possible to join with Mind of God? Do you feel you deserve it? You don't have to be special. In fact, once you open to the possibility and begin to pay attention to your thoughts, you will be surprised by how much more information becomes available. Because we are created in God's mind, we have within us the wholeness, the holiness, the at-one-ment that is our source. Thoughts do not leave the source that created them. We are a thought of God, and therefore we are with God, all that is Atma, the One. Its mind is our birthright, our inheritance. Today's practice, which we will do for about 10 minutes, asks you to go beyond the thoughts you think you think. Put another way, today you are asked to deny the denial of your true nature. We think thoughts of separation, scarcity, and fear. Our small mind is filled with attack thoughts about ourselves and others. But a mind that knows its oneness does not even have a name for fear. Imagine that you are part of a magnificent dance, a symphony of cooperation. Imagine the dance or the symphony involves every aspect of creation. You are the big S self that you see as the atom and the nucleus within it. You are the self you see as the plant kingdom. You are the self you see as the world of water. You are the self you see as humankind. You are the self you see as the star and the space between the stars. You are the self you see as the universe and all the universes birthing out of antimatter. You breathe in, and the entire universe breathes in. You breathe out, and all universes expand into infinity. The whole entirety of this dance, of this symphony, is taking place within the one self. Welcome to Mind of God. Today's practice, we will go beyond the personal mind and just reach the peace of God. This feeling of peace is no flimsy thing, although the ego may laugh at its apparent temporariness. Do not allow the ego to disrupt or dismiss what peace you find today, because it is your true nature. How else would you know it if it wasn't your true nature? God is the mind with which I think. Notice that the words are not God is the mind in which I think. The lessons before and after this lesson say God is the love in which I forgive. or God is the light in which I see. But this lesson is different. God is the mind with which I think. Every thought arises in the I am awareness, which is what we are. The I am awareness is God's being. And it is this awareness with which we are aware of thoughts as they arise. So just relax now for the next 10 minutes. Don't worry about the time. Don't worry about anything. And if you're worried, don't worry about worrying. Just allow whatever arises in your whole I presence to arise. Don't fight the thoughts. Don't argue with the thoughts. We arise in peace, as peace, without forcing anything. Never dismiss the miraculous power of doing nothing. Simply watch the breath. Allow and allow, and let peace come to you. And we begin. slowly and gently come back into awareness of the breath. This lesson tells us that under all senseless thoughts and mad ideas with which we have cluttered up our mind are the thoughts that we have thought with God, love, source, from the beginning. This is the knowing presence of being itself. They are there, this knowing, this sense of presence. It is in your mind and it never changes. It is the I am awareness. This is in your mind now, and it will always be in your mind. Everything you have thought since your first perception changes, but the foundation on which it rests is wholly changeless. It is the foundation that we go back to. It is the foundation that we never left. And it is here that our thoughts are one with each other and with the love source we are. When you're ready, come on back and we can share whatever thoughts we have about the lesson or our experience. This lesson is that it's in the lesson book, the workbook, is really a profound lesson. It points directly, as the progressive path can, to the non-dual nature of I am beingness, just I am presence. It tells us that the foundation, and it capitalizes foundation, the foundation of your thoughts are wholly one. So we might ask, what is the foundation? What is the foundation of the thoughts we think with God? And this is where the progressive path gets a little confusing, because does God have thoughts? God just is. Source is. Beingness is. But this lesson takes us right to the edge. And it uses the word holy. It says you are attempting something very holy. You're attempting to let go of all personal thoughts and relax into the silence. and to know yourself as that. And that is the foundation. Let's see what Cindy has to say. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all here.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do all thoughts contain words?
Do all thoughts contain words? Where does that question come from?
Well, it's part of my contemplation this morning, and part of what I learned from a recent MPP class I helped facilitate on the teachings of Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi indicates that the mind exists only to hold thought, words. And so the words and the thoughts and the mind um, arise as one. And when there are no thoughts or words, they the mind and the thinking um, disappear. There is no mind unless it has something that it's holding, i.e., these thoughts. And a question arose this morning, just wasn't what is a thought, but where do words come from? And I don't have an answer to any of these things. That it's just I'm watching like the squirrely nature that's arising inside as it comes up. And when we talk about God's thoughts, the question arises: do God's thoughts require words? Or could they be something or could a God thought be something that's outside of the body sensations and the thinking that occurs in the human mind? Could it be beyond that? So that's where it comes from.
Okay, thank you for that. That's helpful. So I don't think a thought needs a word. The thought of separation doesn't need a word. An idea doesn't need a word. And a thought is an idea, and it doesn't need a word. The idea of separation didn't need a word. I think words are several layers down from thought. And A Course is really confusing in this because I don't think there are thoughts in God. Thoughts are separate objects. There's only one thought, if you want to call it that. There's only one thought, and that's wordless. That's knowing. So that's how I would answer that question, but maybe someone else has other
So,
thoughts.
so based on your answer, what is your definition of a thought? What if a God thought is movement?
What is my definition of a thought? It's an activity of mind, but it doesn't require words.
So what if God's thought is not an activity of mind, but something that is beyond mind?
I'm not hearing you.
What if a God thought or God's thought is something that is beyond? Can't hear me.
We can hear you, but it's super muted, like you have something in front of your microphone.
How about now?
Much
Yeah,
better.
that's better.
That's the air conditioner. What if God's thoughts, the definite, again, it's words upon words, symbols, but what if God's thoughts are beyond the mind? You defined a thought as movement in mind. Ramana Maharshi um, defined mind as something to hold, like words, thoughts.
I would say that that is mind seeking, but not finding. If it's beyond mind, if God's thoughts are beyond mine, it's just words. I mean, I'm not sure what value thinking about that has. For me, I'm not sure. If it's beyond my ability to perceive, then it's beyond my ability to perceive. I am the I am presence. And as Indigo has taught us, and so many others, thoughts just arise. The non-dual tradition says they just arise. We don't know where they come from. We are the witnessing presence in which they arise. And they don't need words. As Rana said, they can be images. Yeah. So they all just arise in our witnessing presence. And I don't put them there. I don't know where they come from. They just come. It's like, I don't know what I am, but I know I am. I know I am. And I'll stop there and just let Richard speak his words of wisdom.
And just, Patricia had her hand up. And I want back
Oh,
down.
sorry. Richard and then Patricia.
Morning, everyone. I tend to believe that oneness is undifferentiated. So there can be nothing in oneness that is different than anything else. So if we have thoughts in God, which is oneness, and then other thoughts different, one thought is different from another, it cannot be oneness, it must be duality. So if God's mind is made up of thoughts, are the thoughts different or are they all one? If they're all one, then we can say, for example, that God is love. That is all. There is nothing else. There are no thoughts. There's just love. So I think it's an excellent question because I think it comes up all the time in numerous lessons within the course, and all the talks. It talks about thoughts and healing the mind and the thoughts of God, and so it's very confusing I think for most of us, because if we believe that oneness is undifferentiated, in other words, there can be no different things within oneness, there is only oneness, then thoughts, like anything else, cannot exist in reality. They only exist within the illusion. So they may be helpful to us because they help us to reason away to a point where we are ready for liberation from all thought. But I think most of the lessons when they talk about, what's that one lesson is, I would still an instant and go home. And when you still the mind, you go into stillness, and then you experience peace and the stillness. There is no thought there. The minute you have thought, you're no longer in the stillness. So I don't know. I don't know nothing, but that's what seems to work for me.
Thank you, Richard. I mean, thoughts are like the manyness of the one. Whatever, there may be a million unlimited thoughts, but they're all the one. None of them are differentiated. Patricia. Good morning. Sorry that I didn't catch you. You didn't keep your hand up. You got to unmute too. There you go.
There. Good morning, everyone. It's like as I'm listening to everybody, it's like my experience is that words are confounding. They're just lots and they're in my way. But images are softer for me. Whether it's an image of the past, which may be painful, it doesn't matter. There's I'm trying to find the word. Here I go. I'm trying to find the word. The images, maybe it's because I'm so visual, but the images feel right, where words just clutter.
Mhm.
I see words as clutter. I see images as softer, as more inviting. They feel better.
Mhm. There's another way to think about this too. I agree with you, Patricia. Words are kind of like a layer over thoughts. It's an attempt by the mind to define a thought. So I can move my body, but there's no thought, there's no word behind the moving. There might be a thought of movement, but there's no words. I don't say arm move and then move the arm. It just happens. And the other thing that I think is true is we communicate all the time without using words. So when I'm in a dream or in near-death experiences, there is communication without words. So thought or feeling is exchanged without the use of a word. So thoughts don't require words. But again, what's the definition of a thought? It's just words, right? This language is, yeah, Patricia,
It feels like a busy highway,
it does.
with horns, pumping words. And here we are all together. And I think of all the words people are thinking. And here we are on the highway at an open door. But the
Right.
image is different. For me, the image is different. I don't want to be, I can be on this highway, but I choose to listen to music or I choose to have images.
Mhm.
And I don't know if anyone else experiences it, but images are not only, they're peaceful. They're more peaceful. They can be. If I have an image of a accident and someone getting hurt, then that's not peaceful. And then the mind starts chattering. I don't know. They're just playing with ideas.
Mhm. I'm going to ask Rana if she has anything she wants to say. Because I can sort
I'm
of,
just having my own conversation with ourselves over here, it's really juicy, really. I appreciate the question.
yeah,
Because of course, this mind had an answer immediately,
uh-huh.
and so to move beyond that answer and look into it a little more deeply. Um, what I'm considering right now is a thought is not required prior to an action because there's no doer. All the stuff is just happening, and there's no thinker either. And so it becomes more of a matter of focused attention. A certain image pops up, and if I pay attention to it long enough, words start forming to describe the image, to invoke the memory. And then an emotion can come too, right after that. Not sure that, can I really say the thinking is what started that? Not really. I don't know. I think it's juicy. The thing that I was definitely considering was, well, two things. That first tiny mad idea. What if everything was different? Like that's the first question, and then all the other question thoughts come after that, just to have the experience. And then what always gets me when I think about words and labels, I mean, they're so not important because I can't think of one right now, but like we say chair, right? But French people have a different word, and Spanish people have a different word, and Swahili has a different word. So is the word really anything meaningful there? It's actually generating some sort of seeming emotional charge, once that label is put in place. And so, the other thing is I would love, I'm sure one of you know, the quote is something about I am thoughts don't leave their source and I'm a thought in the mind of God, or is it I am an idea? That right there points to an idea that God is thinking somehow. But I think what it really points to is that creative principle that allows the question, what if everything were different, to occur after that. All the infinite possibilities of exploring that experience. So those are my words right now.
I think that's really well put. I appreciate that. It does, the course does say we are a thought in the mind of God, but I think that is confusing. I think that's attributing something to source that the ego can understand, the egoic mind can understand, but once we move through that, we see that it's not really a direct teaching.
Right. It's a great way to describe that I am a divine aspect of this whole, but there's no intention there. Like as I tend to attribute human qualities to something called God that's having thoughts. But I think it's a great way to demonstrate at, the creative level of things. It's just, there's more than just the field going on now that we've posed that question, or that the question was posed at some point. What would it be like?
I just want to come back to this lesson because it really does tell us what we need. It says, it is this foundation with the capital F foundation toward which the exercises for today are directed. Here is your mind joined with mind of God capitalized. Here are your thoughts, one with his or its capitalized. For this kind of practice, only one thing is necessary. Approach it as you would an altar dedicated in heaven to God the Father, which doesn't do anything for me, and to God the Son. So it is the altar in which everything is joined, one place, and that's the altar of the heart. Right. We learn that right from chapter 1 of the text, the holy altar. It's the one joining, the place where everything is one. And then this says, you will probably be unable as yet to realize how high you are trying to go. Right? Here we are going to the upper room. You won't be able to realize yet how high you're trying to go. Yet even with this little understanding you have already gained, you should be able to remind yourself this is no idle game, but an exercise in holiness, in wholeness, in oneness, in unity consciousness, and an attempt to reach the kingdom of heaven. So here is the progressive path. We do not have to attempt to reach the kingdom. We are the kingdom. We are in the upper room. God is, God is, God is. I am, I am, I am. Patricia.
I am when my heart is open.
Yeah. 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 When we reach the altar, the holy altar in the heart, there's silence, and we can ask, is anything lacking? No, nothing is lacking. Are there any words there? No. Are there any thoughts? No. Is it empty? In a way. Is it full? Yeah, it's full and empty at the same time. That's the foundation. It's unchanging, ever present. I got to ask Cindy what she's thinking. We got 4 minutes left, and
I'm sitting with two things, and there are three things really. First is the beginning of the Bible. The first words that say, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was good, and the Word was God. And the beginning of the guides and their channeling, where they say, Word, I am Word. I don't have any answers. I don't have, like, I've also been looking at the fact that I'm now appreciating this word discordant. There's a discordant energy here in coming to in alignment with what we're sharing here, no disagreement, and the guide's use of the word, I am word, their definition of the word being the divine in action, and its usefulness, and then going to the very beginning of the Old Testament and the Judeo-Christian religion that says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was good, and the Word was God, and just allowing something beyond body and mind to inform, form a deeper understanding of what is most useful relative to the experience that's being had here right now. That's what's going on here, is looking at, a word. The word. It seems to be coming up a lot lately. Literally, the contemplation that showed up in my diet today was, where do words come from? And then I heard it clearly, this invitation to not look for an answer, and the invitation to not let the thinking mind change the question to, what are words for, and do I need word, all of those things. It's in my writing. I haven't posted it yet, but to just be with the one question, where do words come from? Hold it lightly, and know that if the answer comes from words, then to keep going. And if the answer is a physical sensation, which there's a lot of it, or an emotion, then just keep the question. Where do words come from? And it's leading me now, based on this conversation, back to, look at that, the beginning of the Judeo-Christian tradition begins with, in the beginning was the word, and the beginning of the guide showing up in my awareness anyway starts with word, I am word. And so asking this question, where does the word or where do words come from, without looking for an answer, it's all like creating a whole bunch of discordant energy.
All right, well,
We'll see what happens.
we'll look for an update on that one. Thank you. Yeah, let us know what you come up with as you explore. Richard, you're going to close us out?
Well, I don't think so, but what came to mind when Cindy was talking about word was the quote, God is, and then we cease to speak. So if we cease to speak, that's words to me. So that's another quote, wise quote from the Course, I think, says that. And so who knows, right? Do what brings us peace of mind so we can be the love that we are.
God is, and then we cease to speak. It's all, thank you. That was perfect, Richard. Let me ask one other question. Did anyone in this meditation reach out to everyone else on the Zoom in your mind? Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the discussion and just your presence. I really love being with you all. And I
We got
guess we're going to gather again
in
today.
an hour, and
Mm.
then in 7 hours. We have 2 more opportunities to be together today. We have 12 stepping in 59 minutes. I don't know who's leading us though. And then Linda Yamin's joining us at 6 p.m. Eastern for Self-Inquiry Part 2.
Linda Joy is our leader at noon today.
And it's her birthday.
It is. It's her anniversary. Wink, wink.
Yeah, let me stop the recording.